Hi guys, we're trying another pattern today. This is a pattern I've sort of come up with myself, borrowing notable parts from other flies. So you may have heard of a fly called the Balloon Caddis, or Roman Mosers Balloon Caddis, which is it looks very much like a hare's ear emerger, but uses yellow foam for the wing. And obviously you've heard of a shuttlecock emerger. So this is sort of the love child between the two. So it's going to be, rather than a caddis, it's going to be a buzzer or a Chironimid emerger, a non-biting midge. And but it's going to have the wing very similar to Roman Mosers Balloon Caddis. We've been fishing with these for the last 2 years, me and my friend, and when the fish are rising to emergers, they have a very distinctive rise when they're coming up for emerging midges. These patterns have proven quite effective. So I'm going to show you how it's done, and hopefully you'll think, why didn't I think of that? So this video is sort of going to be in 2 parts to do it properly. So the first part is making the body of the fly, and for that we're going to need a uni thread in black 8/0. We're using, in this instance, because it's for display purposes, we're using a size 10 B100. The most effective sizes is actually 12 and 14. 14 is very good. We're going to be using a holographic Madeira thread for the rib. Later on in the pattern we're going to be using black craft foam cut into that shape, and for the thorax we're going to be using chartreuse antron dubbing. So this is part 1. Unfortunately you have to let the fly dry for about an hour before you can do part 2, and I haven't got one that I made earlier. So you come in, you do your standard buzzer body, which I showed you in the black buzzer with a chartreuse thorax. Got fairly close turns. Tying your tinsel. I like to do it at the start because then you can keep the body profile even all the way through, rather than ending up with a lump on the end of the hook. You go around to about there-ish. Now you want to head back up the hook. As close turns as you can possibly do. Then you want to go back down. To about there. This is to introduce a taper into the body. And if you follow the same pattern every time with the same thread, you'll always end up with a consistent buzzer. So then you want to come back down again, close turns to about there. And you want to go up to the area where you think the thorax would be, which is about there. You might want to give yourself a bit more room with this pattern and do it to about there. And you'll see why, hopefully in part 2, why we need to leave a bit more room there than what you would with a normal buzzer. Then you rib the fly with your Madeira. Now, there's quite a few different variations of this fly that I've managed to use to good effect. This is one for the fishery that me and my friend fish, but a hare's ear version, or rabbit or squirrel as I like to use, works well with an orange thorax, and use either brown or grey foam for the wing, and yeah, that works great. You can do olive versions. I've even done like a cat's whisker one, which has got a chartreuse body and a white wing, and I've caught fish on that. I've done hot orange ones, you name it, they work. They were an experimental fly, and now I'm publishing a video on it. Because they are proven to work. I've given them a good 2 years now. I've caught at least, probably, when we're fishing dry flies, 99% of the fish I catch are on this pattern. So you want to finish off the fly there. Not finish off the body, sorry. This is nowhere near finished. And take the thread away. Then you want to basically seal this in with a resin and some varnish, which is why you have to wait a little while to finish this one off. In order for the varnish to get properly hard, and you have to give it a good hour. So you want to start at the bend so that you seal the thing in. So what happens is, if you don't seal it in at the hook, water will get under the thread and it will basically rust from the inside. If you're using a white-bodied fly like an okie dokie, for example, the rust will show through after a little while. So take advantage of your rotary vise, and you can get right in there and get a really good finish. You don't want to go all the way up with the resin. You want to leave that space there where you're planning on putting your thorax. Sometimes you get the excess pooling in the bend, and just scrape that away if you need to. Or you can turn it upside down and let it run back. That's the other method, so scraping it off. That'll probably do it. Come in and set it with your torch, your UV torch. And have a look for any spots that you might have missed. It's hard to believe, but I probably have. Especially across the back there. Now, then you want to fill that in with a varnish. Now, I use the same varnish as what I use to finish a fly, except I've got another one with the brush left big. That allows you to cover it quite quickly. So what happens is the varnish goes off quite quickly. It starts to go all stringy and nasty. So, one swipe, quick one underneath, quick one over the top, and that should do it. And then leave that to dry, and I'll catch you in part 2. Okay, so this is part 2. So we've let the varnish dry. We've changed threads to the chartreuse imitate. And then we're just going to get the thread started. Doesn't have to be perfect. Right the way up to where the resin starts. Trim away. Then you get your foam that you cut earlier. Now, as it is, this is far too long, so you trim it off later on. So you want to introduce it to the hook so that the point is over the eye. Tie it in with a nice tight turn. There we are, that's your thorax cover. Then you want to lift it up and come in there. That can help lock it off. Then you get your anchon dubbing in chartreuse. You only need a little bit. This is harder to dub than fur. The problem with fur is it seems to hold the water, and the way this fly is tied, it barely floats as it is. It's designed to be fished in the surface film. Just keep working at it. You take your time and you'll get there. Maybe put a turn onto the hook, and that can help tighten it up. Now this represents the insect when it's hatching out, which is another reason why you should probably use a dubbing. Rather than basically an epoxy thorax cover. Just keep going, you'll get there in the end. You get a feel for it eventually. It's also this colour of thorax cover gives the fish an aiming point, what they call a hot point or a hot head. Okay, then you want to brush back so you've got plenty of room at the eye to tie the foam in. Pull off any loose bits of them hanging out. Then you bring your foam over. Oops. There we are, that's in. Then you want to get your good scissors and trim that little bit of foam that's sticking out over the eye away. Like so. Bring the thread to the eye and then start making your head. There's one benefit of actually filming yourself tying flies is you can actually see what the other side looks like, and it looked pretty bad. So I've sorted that out. Then you want a half hitch as usual, or whip finish. Whoops. That's one of the risks of tying a fly like this, is it with a tiny eye. Because you can bump the thread. I think we're there now. Once you get that first one in, you're away. There we go. Again, come in with your good scissors. Trim away. Now I can see on the viewfinder that there's quite a few loose strands on the other side. I'm going to get rid of them. That looks better. Now, in line with the bend of the hook, maybe a little bit past it, you can adjust it in the field. Lop that off. And that's how you want it to look, with it pushed forward like that. The fly, basically, imagine my scissors are the water line. The fly will sit in the water like that. The fish sees this part and this. And it looks just like an emerging non-biting midge or buzzer, Chironimid. And then to finish off, you just varnish the head. There we are. That's what I call the foam emerger. I don't think these are available in the shops. So the only way you're going to be able to get one of these is if you tie it at the moment. But as I've mentioned earlier, they've worked absolutely brilliantly for me and my friend Ken. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you when we're tying the next pattern.